Good evening, everyone. I'm April Rochelle from Bashar Communications, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the second day of this exciting adventure with Bashar. And we're going to continue this weekend with our adventure with Willa. Willa is a Nocturnal from 700 years in the future, a Shapeshifter, a Cryptic. And so she's going to be coming through tonight and sharing some more information about her world, particularly the idea of the 5 levels of mastery, which is something that she went through and that she's going to bring us into her world and help us understand what that's like and what those symbols are. Tomorrow's session is entitled The Winter Spirit, and this is about Willa also. She'll be coming through and sharing with us information about nature spirits. So if you love that kind of information, I think this is going to be very exciting, and it's just really going to stimulate our imagination to take us into realms that we're not familiar with. Okay, so getting close to starting. We are going to show you one video, and this is about a workshop that Bashar created specifically to help people not only get in touch with their own deeper sense of adventure and their own personal transformation, but also as a preparation for ET contact. And that is the Cetacean Transformation Workshop that we do in Hawaii that combines a guided meditation series with swimming with the dolphins every day. And I think I'll just let the video show you what it's like. We have a couple of spaces left for February of this year. And then the month after that, we have one spot remaining for our Whales of Atlantis trip that is in the Dominican Republic. And on that trip, we actually live on a boat 80 miles out to sea in the sanctuary where the whales come to breed and to give birth. And so you literally are surrounded by thousands of whales and no people, except for the people on the boats. There's only 3 boats out there. And every morning we do a guided meditation and about Atlantis. Bashar takes us on a really interesting journey through that whole experience of Atlantis and connecting with cetaceans and whales. And then we leave about 8:30 in the morning, and we come back for lunch, but basically we're out on the water all day long and in the water with the whales whenever we find a whale that's interested in interacting with us. And a lot of times that involves the babies. And the babies will literally come up to you and look at you and make eye contact. And it's really an amazing experience. So if you love cetaceans or whales and dolphins, this is a wonderful experience to have also. So let's just let you all show the video.
Side with you next to me, oh, when the timing's right, you'll glide right back to me. I wanna slide through the ocean blue, right beside you, 2 by 2, oh, when the timing's right, you'll slide right back to me. Oh, won't you be my guide as we're slipping through the sea? I wanna dive so deeply through the crystal waters of the world anew. Oh, and the timing's right, you'll slide right back to me. I'm not expecting you to understand. You're never gonna find me back on land. Oh, and the timing's right, you'll slide right back to me.
effortlessly and joyfully slipping through the sea. Streamlined like a dolphin, streamlined like a whale, weaving, diving, bobbing, smoothly gliding, effortlessly through life, slipping through the sea.
I wanna glide through the open sea, side by side with you next to me. Oh, and the timing's right, you'll glide right back to me. I wanna slide through the ocean blue, right beside you, 2 by 2. Oh, and the timing's right, you'll slide right back to me. Oh, you be my guide as we're slipping through the sea. All those moments together I do treasure. It doesn't really get any better. I wish I could have stayed with you for the rest of my day.
In unity, in harmony, in joy and in love, you drift into the depths of the deep blue sea.
Oh, and the timing's right, you'll slide right back to me. As we're slipping through the sea.
Okay, so I know this is the part that you're really waiting for. And it's my great pleasure to introduce to you the very talented channel for Bashar, Daryl Anka. Okay, so thank you again for opening this.
For going to sleep. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you for going to sleep, Daryl, and being able to channel this amazing being that is now going to take us into the land of Willa Hillicrissing.
All right.
So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Are you all ready? Yes. Sure? Yes. Okay, just checking. All right, you guys, thank you for being here tonight. Have a wonderful time. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. A little say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right, thank you. Once again, we thank you for the co-creation of this interaction. Please stand by while we facilitate Willa. All right, good evening, my downline darlings. How are you faring this evening? I think some of you are still sleeping. How are you faring? All right then, let us be giving you some information at the moment on the idea that has been called in my world the 5 levels of mastery. This is a process, this is a training, this is a system that has been developed over hundreds of years of your counting, us being upline 700 of your years. That which you call your future on your own world, and me being in the Emerald Isle. The idea of the 5 levels of mastery involves the training that allows an initiate to become that which is known as a cryptic, a nocturnal, a shapeshifter, a sage, and finally, should one be kenning to go in that direction, a wraith. The idea is represented by different symbols, and we will be explaining what each level may mean. The first level of the cryptic is represented by the symbol of a triangle, which represents the idea of the earth, and the cryptic's training will allow the being to make the connections necessary to ground oneself in the earth plane. For you see, getting in touch and learning to communicate with the trees, with the rocks, with the animals, with the sea and the sky, and all these things of your physical reality will allow you to remain grounded when dealing with the other levels. If you did not go through the phase of becoming a cryptic, which allows you to understand how to communicate with those things of your own reality, of your own world, before you go shooting off into other dimensions, then it would be like a strong wind rushing at you and you having no roots. It would overturn you and uproot you. So by grounding yourself and having deep roots, you stay firm and connected to the earth while you're out exploring the ideas later on in the other levels of other dimensions and other energies and parallel realities. So the idea of the cryptic is to form an ability to communicate and commune with all these life forms on your planet, to really anchor yourself into the physical reality and become truly expressive as a part of nature, so that you can extend your senses and hear the stories of the trees and the stories of the brooks and the stories of the rocks and the stories of the birds and all these things that form a rich tapestry of the world as you may know it. Going through that training will involve many different kinds of things, including the idea of the use of a substance that we have termed divinorum. Now, the idea is it opens up your senses and allows you to really begin to relate to these other life forms by allowing it to be a little bit easier to shift your frequency. It is specially designed and brewed by divinorum masters. My master being that you know as a Sasquatch named of Argus. And in taking the divinorum and opening up those realms and those windows to the nature of nature, you allow yourself to connect not only with the trees and the rocks and the birds and the bees, but also with those beings you would call the elementals, which we will be talking about tomorrow of your time. But the idea is that in coming to your world 700 years ago, from my perspective, downline we call it, the idea is that the hybrids with their extended senses began to perceive that there were these elemental beings that many humans could not see, and we began to develop relationships with them. And in developing those relationships, they taught us many things about how to connect to nature in similar ways to them, how to understand that we were part of nature, as you all are. When you then go beyond the level of the cryptic and you begin your journey into the level called the nocturnal, the idea is now you have established and grounded yourself in this one reality, or what you consider to be one reality. Of course, many of you now know it is a series of parallels, but we are now talking about the idea of the timeline that you consider to be your own. But when you go beyond that and you have connected to that, you can begin to explore the idea and sense the idea of other parallel realities that coexist simultaneously with you all. In exploring those parallel realities and becoming a nocturnal and understanding the secrets of the night and those that reveal themselves in the cool moonlight, you begin to pick up information and knowledge about different parallel realities, different parallel reality versions even of yourselves. And you can call upon that information in those parallel worlds, and you can download it into your world and apply it in your reality. It is a rich tapestry of information that you can call upon when you arrive on the level of the nocturnal. Now, going from that level of recognizing the idea of your connection to nature in terms of the parallel realities and the information that you're able to download with those awarenesses and those connections, you can move to the next level in your training, which is the Shapeshifter. Something that people on your planet don't quite understand, even though you may know the concept of the Shapeshifter, is that there is actually no shifting of your shape in terms of the idea of chemistry and molecules and things like that. That's not the way it works. Once you have established as a nocturnal some connection to these parallel realities and different versions of your own being, the shapeshifter has then developed the opportunity and the ability to call upon those shapes of alternate selves and alternate presentations from parallel realities and create the presentment of them in their own reality. They are not actually in any way, shape, or form altering their own molecular structure per se, but they are taking on the persona to the degree that they need to of other parallel versions of their own being and presenting those to those who are in the reality in which they are anchored. So they are really becoming a literal reflection of different parallel reality individuals. And that is why they can also take the shapes of the trees and the rocks and the birds and the bees, because again, they are just different angles of different reflections of us all. Moving on to the idea then from shape-shifting to the sage. Now the sage can not only call upon the idea of changing their own identity and presenting it to those around them in the way of the shapeshifter, but can actually call upon the reality itself and change the reality around them to be representative of another parallel reality to the degree that others can sense this and perceive and experience this. And you would call this wizardry and witchcraft and magic, but it is simply the idea of identifying so strongly with another parallel reality that they can allow others to match a frequency very easily where they can actually see that parallel reality and so appear to be conjuring objects, changing physical objects within their reality. But no such thing is going on in the way that you typically think of it. It is again that they are allowing an object that already exists simultaneously, right here, right now, from another parallel reality to appear before your eyes and take the place of what was there before in the reality that you're used to. When you go from the sage into the level of the wraith, which sometimes can be quite challenging for many individuals, and very, very few people will do this. It is a very rare thing for those sages to become wraiths. For there are different kinds of ideas that can occur, that can happen, that can take you a little bit off course and be very challenging. But those that can understand how to achieve the balance between the sage and the wraith will understand that now they have tapped in to all these parallel realities that you would consider to be physical in a similar manner to your own, are now stretching and bridging themselves between the physical and the non-physical, between the world of matter and the world of spirit. And they can actually cause changes in the spiritual reality that can appear in certain ways upon the earth and can function very similarly to the idea of what the Bashar has described of his world in terms of actually being quasi-physical, bridging those two realities and exhibiting many of the attributes of spirit while still remaining connected to the physical realm. They can make adjustments in the template level reality that exists in the spirit realm and cause great changes to occur in the physical world around them and in many other parallel realities. They can extend their abilities into other parallel realities, visit those other parallel realities, cause changes in those other parallel realities in addition to their own, because now they are coming from the level of spirit that bridges all of those parallel realities. So these are the 5 levels of mastery. And as we said, the first level, the cryptics, is represented by the idea of the triangle, which represents the earth. Then you have the idea of the nocturnal, which is represented by a wavy line, which represents the sea. Then you have the idea of the shapeshifter, which is represented by an arch, or an arc, as you may term it, which represents the sky and the changing weather patterns. Then you have the idea of the sage, which is represented by the idea of the circle, or space as you would have it, the void, out of which all things come. Then you have the idea of the wraith, which is represented by the dot, which is the idea of the center and source, which is spirit. So you have the earth, and you have the sea, and you have the sky, and you have space, and you have spirit. And those are the 5 symbols that represent the different levels, the 5 levels of mastery. Are you all somewhat kenning what we are saying to you? Yeah. All right. Now, There will be, at the end of the transmission, the idea during your holotrope meditation of a meditation that will help take you through some of the idea of crystallizing this concept of the 5 levels within you. We didn't expect all of you to become masters tonight, but we understand that we can plant the seed within you so that you may decide for yourselves which ideas will work best for you and how to initiate yourselves and become your own apprentice to begin to grow this seed. Begin to find a way and a path that works for you in your own mastery of self and in your connection to your own nature and your connection to the infinite. So if you will be joining us on that journey, we will be very happy to begin your initiation that way during your holotrope meditation, taking you through those 5 levels on a cursory level. So be it, but nevertheless planting that seed that you can water and you can grow by shining the light of your own inner light upon it. Now then we will, as has been suggested, sort of, as you say in your language downline, hang around with you for a little while. And we will be answering some of your questions and having dialogues with you if you wish. So if you would, you may begin to do that if it pleases you. As you be asking your questions, the Bashar that helps facilitate us through our downline self that you would call the channel, you may find that we will be tag teaming, going back and forth basic on the idea of what is appropriate and who it is appropriate for to be answering the questions. So we will go in and out as necessary.
Hi, beautiful.
Well, you're not even seeing me, but you got that right.
Thank you.
So good on you.
I respect that you feel beautiful, and that is enough.
All right then, you're well on your way.
Can I please ask about when you mentioned the concept of Divorum?
Divinorum.
Dividorum?
Yes.
Is that concept set up in your mind, or is that symbol reflection set up in your mind as a tool just to shift you quicker to the state of being of connecting to the nature consciousness around you, like the rocks and...
It is from nature itself.
Okay.
You have similar teachers in your world that are the plants that grow naturally for this purpose, but only under the guidance of a Divinorum master will it allow you to really navigate in the way that it is intended. For the brewing of the Divinorum is an art, and it contains many abilities. It can be brewed in ways to give you very specific experiences and teachings. It can be brewed in a way to give you a very broad and general understanding of experience, depending upon what it is you seek. So it requires a Divinorum master to be the one brewing and taking you down that road on your journey.
At the same time, did you have you tried the experience of Divinorum?
Yes, you're not kenning what I am saying to you. In order for me to achieve the level I have achieved as an initiate back before I became a cryptic, you have to start that journey with your Divinorum ritual. So I have had the Divinorum experience and ritual many times at different levels as I go through my journey on the 5 levels of mastery.
Okay, yeah, and I was going to ask specifically can you hit that state of being of those specific circumstances that you said without even using Divinorum at all and using a different tool altogether?
You can use whatever tool will work for you in the way that the Bashar has told you about the permission slips, but understanding that this is our way, and this is the way that works 700 years upline for the hybrids in the way that they have created the reality in which they now experience themselves.
Oh, fantastic.
Because it is a connection from nature to nature. It is that which allows you to experience more readily in a variety of ways that which is the teacher within.
That sounds exciting.
It is. Or we would not be doing it.
Oh, yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be held to be reasonable for once, because there have been many along my life journey that thought I was out of my mind.
And that's valid to be out of your mind in your spirit?
Well, on that we agree.
I was going to ask, you were talking about these 5 levels, and in any given level is not the entire reality contained within you. So if you're talking about a Nocturnal or Shapeshifter or anything like that, are you only going to resonate with, from that spirit level, with consciousness that has a belief system that is lined up to see those manifestations?
Of course, that's the way it works, but still there is the enjoyment of the process. For it creates an enrichment within you that allows for a deeper appreciation of what it is you go through, because that is the point of life.
Yeah, that's fun. So
Yes.
the process is the point.
Absolutely.
Because right now I've been feeling like I've just wanted to be at point X and not have a process about it. Or
Point X, is that a particular location in your world?
Probably, but also I was analogically using it as a state of being that I've desired to have, but I haven't. Like, I've just felt like that snapshot. Or
What's a snapshot?
Probably not what I'm referring to it to be by saying a snapshot's a photograph thing, or it could be. I don't know.
You're talking about a representation.
A
symbol.
representation. Yeah. So in my imagination, I imagine a reality where there are things, and then in my reality there are different things.
All right, but I have a question.
Thank you. Yeah.
Where else but within your imagination would you be imagining things?
Where else within my imagination would I be imagining things?
You said in my imagination, I imagine. Well,
so
I would
everything
assume
is
that to be
imagination.
the case, yes.
Oh, so you're saying so more holistic.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for that correction.
Because really this is all your imagination.
Okay, I ken you, as you say.
Well, thank you for kenning that.
That's awesome. Or whatever Bashar says about awe.
All right, well, we understand.
Um,
He's explaining some things to us as we go along.
oh, cool.
Because we have different ways of seeing and different ways of doing and different ways of thinking applying from you. So he's acting as a little bit of a translator.
All right. So how is so you've got completely different, or not completely, I mean everything's completely different but similar in its different ways, but
There are some things that are very similar and things that you would recognize should you transport yourself to our time. There are many things that are very different that you wouldn't understand what you were looking at.
okay, yeah. And so the consciousness that is my human consciousness doesn't have a symbolic representation of it to interpret back into my physical experience while I'm contained within that physical experience. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think I'm saying what you just said, because what you just said makes no sense.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have to review what sense I was attempting to make.
All right. We'll let you
That-
go
that's
off
later.
and do that then.
Okay, well, thank you very much for chatting with me today.
Well, thank you.
Or whatever time it is now. Yeah, now. Thank you very much.
Good evening.
Evening to you then.
I guess my question has to do with balancing the heart and the mind.
Yes.
The personality that I seem to have given myself is one that's inclined to, I guess, the mental space, the cerebral space, and I find it very challenging to...
I'll be letting the Bashar handle this one if you don't mind.
All right.
All right, please proceed.
Thank you.
You're talking about the heart and the mind and the
Yeah.
balance between the two.
Yes.
Yes. Well, you understand you have your higher mind.
Yes.
And you understand that it sends through the mind, through the physical mind, to the heart, which then acts as a reflector and comes back into the physical mind that then projects out into your reality. And that is the balance, that you have to allow the mind to be transparent enough to allow the heart to reflect the higher mind in a way that then the physical mind can utilize for projecting into your reality to create, by filtering it through the belief systems, whatever the symbolic reflection may then need to be, to show you what is going on, what filters may exist in the belief system within the mind, within the physical mind, that the higher mind and the heart hold between and project from. Is this making some sense to you as we are explaining?
To some degree or extent, yes.
All right.
I guess, could you
Yes.
repeat that for me just one more time?
Imagine a picture here that
Okay.
you have a higher mind that is non-physical.
Yes.
And you have your physical mind in the center, that is your persona.
Yes.
Yes? That is made of the beliefs and the emotions and the thoughts that creates the ego structure
Right.
and then exhibits its behavior in your physical reality. Yes?
Yes.
And then you have the heart, which has its own intelligence,
Right.
its own awareness. The higher mind will then send, like a beam, if you wish an analogy, to the heart that gets reflected back to the mind and gets filtered through the belief systems and gets projected outward in the idea of your physical experience. You have your physical eyes, which create a parallax, which create a three-dimensional experience for you physically, but you have the idea of the higher mind and the heart, which also has parallax in this direction, to create a reality emotionally, so that there is depth to physical reality, so it feels real.
Right.
Otherwise, it wouldn't, because it is an illusion. Yes?
Right. Yeah.
So you have these two different kinds of parallax with the physical mind in the center. But the idea is that all of this energy is filtering through the belief system that is what makes up the persona, the foundation of the persona, to allow you to get the reflection from those different parallax views coming back to you, so you can always have a guidance system to know what beliefs you are holding on to, and thus can make course corrections and adjustments as you go. Is this helping at all, or am I only confusing?
It is helping. I guess it's more so me trying to feel my emotional body more, because sometimes it feels like there is a disconnect. I don't.
But the disconnect is what we are saying would only come from the idea of a fundamental belief in disconnection. Because even though you may have that experience, you have to be connected in order to create an experience of disconnection.
Huh.
And it's all right to have the experience, but you have to always know, in order to move forward, that the only way you can have an experience of disconnection is if you're connected.
Okay.
If you were really disconnected, you wouldn't exist. You cannot be disconnected from source, but you can use your connection to create an experience of disconnection.
Interesting.
Yes?
Yeah, okay.
Is this helping?
It is. Thank you.
It's all about your definition, and this is why we always encourage all of you to be very clear and very precise and know consciously what you are defining yourself to be, because it is all about that definition and your belief in it that creates your experience of your reality. And now, in this day and age, it is more important than ever to be very precise about that definition. Because you can have a definition that to you might seem like you're on track, but when you might give it a little bit of an analysis, you may find that you are still containing a little bit of a contradictory concept within it that isn't allowing it to be the pure representation of what you would prefer. And even that little tiny bit of contradictory definition within it is not the definition that is most aligned with you.
Wow. Thank you.
Does that make sense?
It's very much so.
Does this help you?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You are welcome. When you come up, you may, if you wish, request that you either speak to us or that you speak to Willa, and we will make the adjustment accordingly.
Hi, Willa.
No, I am Bashar.
Hi, Bashar.
But you may request to speak to Willa unless you need to speak to us. Which do you prefer at the moment?
Bashar.
Here I am.
Hi, Bashar.
And do you good day.
Good. So, it's so amazing. I did not write my name. My friend wrote my name without me knowing about it. So
Surprise.
Yeah. So I don't have any question, actually.
Then you don't have to ask one. You can make a statement if you wish.
I can say that I'm very happy to be on Earth at
all
this
right.
time.
That's a good thing because that's where you are. And
With all
I
the
can think of a
changes
question
expected.
for you to ask if you wish.
Sure.
You can ask your friend, why did you write my name down?
I asked her.
And what did she say?
They said if they call your name,
Yes.
that means that you have to be there.
Why?
And-
You don't have to do anything.
Do you have any message for me? Maybe that's the reason.
You think?
Yeah,
That we would have a message for you?
maybe.
Oh, all right.
Maybe I'm hoping.
You are you?
Yes.
You sure you want to do that?
Yes.
Usually, the message we have for anyone who asks for a message is in the form of our question. You know what that question is?
The highest
Are you
excitement?
acting every moment that you can on your highest excitement to the best of your ability with no insistence on a particular outcome?
I'm trying. I cannot say that I'm doing that
Why
all the
not?
time.
Why not? What beliefs cause you to hesitate or make you resist doing that as often as you would prefer to?
I would say fear
Of?
outcome not being what
But I just told
I
you that the
expect-
formula is that you can't insist on the outcome.
That's-
If you insist on the outcome and are afraid you're going to get the wrong one, you're not using the formula. You're using something else. You see, this is what we were talking about. You don't have a definition that corresponds to the formula. That's why it's not working all the time. When you use it and are in alignment with it, it works. But when you have a definition that says, I have to focus on the outcome, and the outcome has to be what I think it needs to be, or I'm afraid that it won't be that, and that something will go wrong, you're ignoring the third criteria in the formula, which is you have to completely and utterly drop any insistence or assumption on what the outcome needs to be. The reason for that is because while many of you think you can imagine what the ideal outcome would be, you can't. Therefore, you have to allow your higher mind to bring you what the ideal outcome would actually be. And what that means is the image you have, the symbol you have, the idea you have of what you think the outcome should be is actually a limitation on what the higher mind could give you. Even better than you imagined. When you can really wrap your mind around the understanding that your visualization is only a symbol to get you into the proper excited state to receive the outcome that is best from the higher mind, and understand that your visualization is only to be used as a symbol that way, and is actually a limitation on the higher mind, blocking the higher mind from giving you what you really could be getting, then you will understand that you can drop that because it is a limitation. So all you need to do is understand that it's not the end-all be-all, it's a limitation, and you won't insist on it anymore. You'll stop insisting on a particular outcome because you will know the higher mind will bring you exactly what you need. Is that making some sense?
Definitely.
Is that helping?
Definitely.
All right. Then did you get the message that you needed?
Yes. Now I have a question.
Oh, well, what a surprise.
Not related to what we talked,
Yes.
but do I have any hybrid child?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't ask me how many.
Okay. Okay. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello, Bashar.
And good day to you.
My question is about frequency.
Yes.
What is the easiest and the quickest way to raise my frequency? Besides the exciting and excitement and all that, but just...
Why would you want another way other than the most efficient way to do it? Why would you ask for something that is not the easiest way to do it?
Oh, that is the easiest way?
Yes. Because it's the formula that aligns with your true vibration.
Mm.
Is that not clear?
It's clear.
Are you sure?
Kind of.
Kinda. Let's go through it.
Okay.
You understand that you have a signature frequency that
Yeah.
represents you.
Uh-huh.
When something excites you, when you're passionate about something, that is your physical translation of the vibration of your true self. That's why it excites you. That's what that feeling is. It's the recognition, it's the sensing, it's the experience, in physical terms of the vibrational frequency of your signature tone. Do you understand? So anytime you act on the thing that excites you the most, to the best that you are able, as fully as you can, and you have no insistence on the outcome, you are most purely aligned with your signature frequency. And when you are most purely aligned with your signature frequency, it opens up the idea of the structure of existence to you in such a way that you get the synchronicity you need, you get everything you need, you get the support you need in perfect timing, everything. And it reveals to you anything you need to know, anything that is relevant for your life. It moves you forward in exactly the most efficient way along the path of least resistance. That is the most efficient way to raise your frequency because it is the frequency of your true self. And all you need to do when you take action from that state is then no matter what occurs, no matter what happens, no matter what results, no matter what the outcome may be from that action, all you need to do is give it a positive spin, a positive meaning so you can extract a beneficial effect from it. And that's it. And just keep doing it. That's the formula. Please understand that we're not giving you just an opinion. We're not giving you a philosophy. We are giving you an instruction manual for how the structure of existence actually works. So therefore, follow the instruction manual. It has already been rendered down into the simplest possible form.
What if it's that easy? How come we're not always doing it?
That's such a good question. And that's the question you all have to answer for yourselves, because the reason you wouldn't do it, the reason you wouldn't know that it's that easy is because you've been taught to believe it's not. That's why it's so important to examine your beliefs. Many of you have beliefs that things have to be a struggle, that you don't deserve things. And therefore those kinds of beliefs get in the way of you experiencing it as easily as you could. That's why it's so important to clean out those negative belief systems that are causing the resistance within you and causing you not to realize how easy it is. That's what the whole process of this transformational age is all about, letting go of the things that don't work for you so that you can experience the ease and effortlessness and joy of life.
So what's the process like to get rid of that belief?
You have to identify the negative belief consciously. Because when you identify a negative belief, that belief being negative is out of alignment with your true vibration. That's what negative in this context means. And when you identify something that is out of alignment with your true vibration, the moment you actually consciously identify it, then it will appear illogical, nonsensical, and as soon as it appears to make no sense, it's gone. So all you need to do to find it, if you are willing to do so, is to ask the question anytime a negative feeling comes up, anytime the resistance raises its head, is to ask, what would I have to believe is true about myself in this situation in order to feel or behave or think the way I do? If you are willing to hear the answer, it will come in some form, either through synchronicity or in dreams or some form, or you'll just know what it is. Or you can ask the question in another way, because sometimes fear works better for many people on your planet. And that is, what am I afraid will happen if I actually allow myself to move forward in the way that I would prefer to, in the way of my excitement? And sometimes then when you answer that question, the fear will be indicative of what the negative belief is. And again, as soon as you really identify it, you'll see that it really makes no sense. It doesn't belong to you. You picked it up from either your parents, your school, your friends, your society, but you're carrying around someone else's belief. That makes you a belief thief. Don't steal other people's beliefs.
Right.
Your own bags weigh nothing. Right. Anything that holds you down, anything that holds you back, anything that weighs you down doesn't belong to you. Right. And all you need to do is find out what it is and let it go. Now, once you identify a belief, and it seems illogical and nonsensical, as we said, that's the end of the process of letting it go, not the beginning. Once something makes no sense, you'll drop it. However, if you say you've dropped it and you still discover that you're still behaving the same way with the same resistance, what that means is you haven't found the fundamental belief. Keep digging. Because sometimes beliefs, negative ones, will surround themselves with other secondary beliefs to make sure you don't find
Yeah.
the fundamental one, because that's what negative beliefs do.
Yeah.
That's how they protect and preserve themselves.
Oh.
And therefore, the first clue is you're still behaving the same way that you don't prefer to behave. That should tell you you haven't found the fundamental belief. Keep digging. And remember, negative beliefs will use every trick in the book to prevent you from changing them. That's the way they're designed, to perpetuate themselves. So the more fear you have about finding the negative belief, that means the closer you are to finding it and letting it go, because it will throw more fear at you to prevent you from recognizing it. So the more afraid you are to look, that should be your first clue that you're just about ready to let it go. So you can use that by defining that fear in the positive way that I just did for you.
You did.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense. It's hard though.
That's a belief. There is no such thing as an inherently difficult situation. Only your belief allows you to experience it as so. So the first thing to do when you hear yourself saying things like that is catch yourself and go, wait a minute, that's not a fact. It's a belief you've bought into so strongly that you have been made to believe it's a fact. But there are no facts except the 5 laws. That's it. Everything else besides those 5 laws is not a fact. It's an opinion, it's a belief, it's a perspective. An opinion can be changed, a belief can be changed, a perspective can be changed, a fact cannot. And therefore, if you buy into the idea that something like, well, that's difficult, is a fact, you take away the ability to change it. When you understand that there are no facts except the 5 laws, then everything is changeable. And when you catch yourself, when you hear yourself giving those definitions, you can stop yourself and say, wait a minute, I don't have to believe that it's difficult. That's not a fact. It's just something I've been taught to believe is true. What would I prefer to believe is true? That it's actually fun and easy and transformable and changeable. And that's part of the challenge, because challenges are fun if you define them that way. Remember, nothing has built-in meaning. You give it the meaning, and that's the way you experience it. Everything is neutral.
Okay.
Everything is neutral until you give it meaning. Whether you do that consciously or unconsciously isn't the point. If you give it a meaning so automatically, so unconsciously that it seems like a fact, that doesn't mean it is a fact. It just means you've been trained to automatically give it a meaning that makes it look like a fact. Catch yourself and remind yourself, only the 5 laws are the facts. Everything else is just a condition of local circumstances and just a perspective, just an opinion, just a belief.
How would I know that I'm almost there? How would I know it?
How would you know what?
That I've identified and I've
By the fact that you will feel differently, by the fact that you'll experience your life in a different way. Because when you truly let go of a belief that is causing resistance within you, you will experience your life accelerating in a very different way. You will know it when you feel it.
I will feel it. I will know it.
Absolutely. It will be like night and day.
Okay.
Yes?
Got it.
Have you not ever experienced the idea of letting go of an old belief and suddenly feeling so much lighter and so much more wonderful and joyful in your life?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It's that simple.
So there's a lot of layers to it then.
Yes, because that's the way you've created your reality to be experienced.
So it's
through the letting go of the different layers so that you can discover yourself from a new point of view. That's the whole point of your life.
So keep going.
Keep going.
Keep
Act
going.
on your highest passion to the best of your ability with no insistence on a particular outcome. You will unlock the complete kit and just make sure that whatever happens, you know it's there for a reason. Even if what happens is not what you prefer, and that's okay to recognize that, but recognize it neutrally. Don't give it negative energy.
Okay.
Just recognize, all right, this isn't what I prefer. However, it's got to be here for a positive reason.
Okay.
Use it that way. You'll get the benefit from it.
It gets better and better and better.
Of course it does, because that's how it works.
Okay.
Please, all of you, remember, you are always unconditionally supported by creation. Unconditionally. So if you buy into a negative belief, creation isn't going to contradict you. It's going to say, all right, if that's what you want to buy into, I will support you in your negative belief.
Okay.
But if you say, I now prefer to buy into positive ones. Again, unconditionally, creation will say, all right, I'll support you in that. You're the one that's in charge,
Okay.
not it.
So every time I identify it, I just clip it and clip it and clip it and
Yeah.
just, okay.
Be clear about your definitions and everything will begin to shift accordingly. Does that help?
Helps.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bashar. Thank you.
What's on your mind, dearie?
Hello, Willa. I'm going to take you down a timeline here
Oh, all right.
that will come to my conclusion of what I wanted to know. When my husband Fred passed on December 22nd, 2012, Bashar spoke to me that evening. He said Fred and I had a connection to Ireland and that I would have 3 days and 3 nights of images. 1 year later, on the first anniversary of Fred's passing, and after meeting my Irish connection Colleen earlier in the year, I spoke to Bashar, stating there had been no images. He said, you haven't hit the synchronistic download trigger yet. He also said that Colleen was, oh, I'm really shaking. Wow.
That's because you're matching a frequency that you rarely feel in these particular encounters. Because we have a very different frequency than the Bashar.
Yes, well, I'm really feeling it.
All right, then.
Okay.
Go ahead and feel away. Shake in your boots.
Oh, I am. He said you haven't hit the synchronistic download trigger yet. He also said that Colleen was not her name, but she would be the trigger point for these images. Now, Willa, you then came through and confirmed that she would be the trigger point. I said I thought Colleen was Fred's parallel incarnation. I can hardly stand here.
Are you having fun yet, then?
I am.
All right.
If
Keep going.
If I can stand.
Keep going.
You said that I thought Colleen was Fred's parallel incarnation, and you said she was an aspect of me.
That's right.
And you said when you tap into Colleen, you will also understand the connection that Fred has, and in understanding the connection from Colleen's point of view, you will have more closer communication with the aspect which is also Fred.
And so how's it going for you?
Good. You also said you need to be your version of her in order to experience the alignment with her, have the same information she has access to, and have the same thoughts that she has.
And you understand what that means? You have to be Colleen.
I understand that. So let me continue.
I will then.
Thank you.
Since you're so insistent about it.
Well, I need to get the whole story to get to the conclusion of what I wanted to talk to you about.
All right then.
And since then, I found out she's a member of your team. Still uses her nature name, Lily Stargazer. It's not Colleen, it's Lily Stargazer.
And she's the one that has the Stargazer in Port Dublin.
Oh, really?
No, I'm lying to you then. I came from 700 years up line to fill you full of fibs. Yes, she has the Stargazer in. That's why it's the Stargazer in.
Stargazer
In.
in?
Yes, tavern, you understand?
Oh.
In Port Dublin.
Wow. Okay. And that's because of our 27-year vibrational relationship with that flower that she introduced me to.
Well, that's not why she has the Stargazer in.
No, I'm talking about her name, Lily Stargazer.
Yes.
Yes. And she did trigger one image shortly thereafter. One morning when I was listening to an Irish song, Lily had me close my eyes. I was immediately in an Irish pub with a pint of beer in my hand.
You see? Tavern.
That's the tavern I was in. Is that right?
You do have the ability to put two and two together.
Together, yes.
All right, then.
All right. So, like I said, I was immediately in an Irish pub with a pint of beer in my hand, and we were all singing that song. Only I was now a male having that experience.
All right, then.
Oh my God, can I take my shoes off?
Glad you're having such an exciting time of it.
Oh, I am.
You almost sound like you're beginning divinorum ritual.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, because that can make you shake.
Oh, that must be what it is then.
You might be picking up a little bit on the vibration of the divinorum that is within my system. Since I have gone through the ritual many times, that vibration is a part of me.
Wow.
So take a deep breath and take your time, because it can be overpowering for those who are not yet fully initiated. So just breathe easy and let it guide you.
Yes,
And
thank
continue with your story. You were saying you had a pint.
I had a pint, yes. And I was a male in that experience. And then upon opening my eyes, I found out that man was an aspect of Fred named Arian, and he and Lily are twins and parallel reality specialists.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
No?
Going a little far afield there.
Okay.
Must be the pint going to your head.
Must be. Okay, so what's
It's a little
the
bit
correction?
different than that.
Okay.
You're looking at symbols and interpreting them a little bit too literally.
Okay.
The symbols are there for a variety of reasons, and that's all well and good.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to back down a little bit so that you
Okay.
can really take the time to understand what the symbols are showing you and to ken them properly, because they are symbols of a collection of energies that you need time to process and interpret, rather than just taking them at face value the way they come across from the get-go.
Okay.
So that's part of your process, is to go back over those symbols and understand the depth of them and pick them apart a little bit and understand what they really mean, because they are folded up. There's a lot of information there. It's not just what they appear to be on the surface.
So what part is it that Fred...
Well, the name's a little off of the male.
Arian?
And the idea that they are twins is a little off.
They're
but you
not.
have to see that from a different way. Not physically, no.
Are they associated?
Say again.
They're connected in
Well,
that
they're
life?
connected, yes.
Just not twins.
But not exactly in the way that you think. You're looking at the twins in a literal way.
Okay.
It's a very different way of understanding it, and you need more understanding of the way that we see things upline from you.
Okay.
Because there are many different ways in society that people have of relating to one another, because there are many different elements in our society that don't exist in yours. So you have to understand that some of the things that you are familiar with as symbols don't have the same meaning anymore 700 years upline.
Ah, okay.
So you have to know how to live in that era in order to know what the symbols represent in our contemporary reality, rather than what they mean to you in yours 700 years down line.
Okay.
So take the time to really explore and look around and see what's really there and feel it out. And don't be too quick to jump upon the symbol and its first apparent meaning.
Okay. So then a few months ago, I started giving channeling sessions with Lily, and everybody seems to love her. And
Well, yeah, she has a sparkling personality. Not necessarily as sparkling as mine, but certainly up there somewhere.
Somewhere, huh? Close
Yes.
to it.
She knows I'm tickling her.
Yes. And at the same time, I don't feel I know who she is. I have...
Well, she is got a lot of levels and a lot of layers and a lot of mystery. You understand that in your reality, quite often you say that people go and they talk to your barkeep to tell them their
Yes.
problems. Well, Lily Stargazer has the tavern for a very specific reason, because it is a hub. And people will go there and they will talk and they will share their stories. And Lily will be the one to help them understand those stories in a variety of ways. So work with her that way, in the way of unfolding a story, so that you can really understand the depth of it and the meaning of it in the way that is most important and most relevant for you. So be in the pub and share your stories and talk from the heart to Lily, because she will talk from the heart to you if you're willing to go that far and that deep within yourself. And then the story will unfold like the stargazer flower.
Okay. And And the rest is, I have not really connected with being my version of her, having the same information she has access to,
Well, that'll take a little while.
and having the same thoughts that she has, as you suggested.
Yes,
I
well,
feel
that'll take a while.
right. I feel it keeps me from allowing her to fully come through with all the
Nonsense.
Nonsense.
You're thinking too much.
Okay.
You're overthinking this. Maybe you need another pint.
Probably a few.
So allow yourself to unlock a little bit from the rigidity of the structure that you're using here. Just relax in the tavern and just tell your story. You'll start matching the frequency a little bit more accurately when you relax and don't need to.
Okay.
It'll happen magically in its own timing and in its own way. She knows what she's doing, and you have to trust that she does and let her guide you in that way rather than imposing the way you think it should go.
Right. And then now I'm coming to my aha moment.
Oh, aha.
And the reason I wanted to talk with you.
Yes.
On Wednesday, I was listening again to Bashar's protocols of first contact. I heard protocol number 9, initiate higher level communication with the connection individual, where Bashar's talking about his connection with Darryl. And he said, this means that a blending begins if the individual, that is the past self, is starting to really open up to the idea and understanding of the connection that exists between us in the nonlinear sense now, not the linear sense of saying, all right, that's my future self, this is my past self, but in the nonlinear sense of understanding higher dimensional perspectives of this connection. For example, the idea that from a higher perspective, we are one in the same soul, one in the same being expressing itself in what you would call 2 different parallel reality time frames simultaneously. Once the channel begins to grasp the idea, once the downloads to the channel begin to filter into his consciousness system, and he starts beginning to view things more 3-dimensionally, 4th-dimensionally, 5th-dimensionally, in the way that we do, then there can be a heightened degree of acceleration of the kind of information that can be delivered through that connection individual. So it made me realize that I have not been working with Lily from this higher dimensional perspective and not being my version of her. So what can you help me with that?
What do I need to add? You've said it all. You realize what it is that may be missing from the equation, and we have already told you exactly how to approach it so that you can experience it in the way that the protocol is describing. So you need another pint in the tavern.
Go to the pub and talk with Lily?
Yes, and relax and not impose the idea of what kind of structure you think needs to be there, but let the stargazer show you.
Very good.
Let her show you. She will show you. She's very good at it.
Okay.
But you need to relax a little bit and not be in such a rush.
Well, I had felt that I needed more information when channeling because it's like I can go to a certain point, but it's like she doesn't know. I know she knows all the information, but I felt that I have to know in order for her to tell things
Why is
like
then?
Bashar.
Well, you're making an assumption then, aren't you?
That I don't know?
You're making an assumption that you need to know more than you do at the moment.
Okay.
This is a process.
All right.
And therefore you arrive at a certain point and then you stew in it. You relax.
Okay.
You have a pint at the Stargazer and you see what comes out of the conversation. Otherwise, you can't get through if you're sitting there going, I should know more than this. I should know more than this.
Right.
Who says?
Well, I've
Relax
been saying it. Yeah.
and let it come.
Okay. And I think I'm already a little bit of a cryptic because I've talked to animals, birds, trees, grasshopper.
That's the first level, and many of you are initiating yourselves to some degree in that direction. Yes, that's the first stage, which is why we're going to also help accelerate the seed through the meditation with your holotope then, so that you can begin to accelerate the first level of initiation, beginning the cryptic journey. But again, understand, it is a journey that, for most of you, will take a little bit of a process, and that's all right. You're not going to become a cryptic overnight.
Okay, so this, what do you call the liquid that...
Divinorum.
Divinora?
You won't be doing that.
No.
It's engineered for our specific genetic structure.
So that's not going to be with anybody on Earth structure.
Divinorum will not exist in the way that it exists for us for quite some time, but you have other teachers. Whether you use them or not is up to you. For now, perhaps I would suggest that you stick with your imaginary pint.
Okay.
All right?
All
then?
right, now go to the pub.
By all means, you're always welcome there.
Yes, I'm so glad to find out that that's her pub.
The Stargazer Inn
Stargazer.
in Port Dublin.
I love it.
All right.
Thank you so much.
If you
Lily.
wish,
Yes.
you may, while you're there, order me a pint as well.
I will.
I won't drink it
No. But
because only mostly humans do. The hybrids usually tend not to, although some will try it now and then.
what do they drink?
Oh, they drink many different kinds of things. But you will find that we are most attracted to a kind of nectar that again doesn't exist on your planet at this time.
So then would Lily join me in her pub and drink the nectar, or what would she
would.
drink? She would. Okay.
It is a kind of golden nectar.
And I
It
could
comes
drink it
from a
also.
plant that is not indigenous to your world at this time.
And could I drink some of the nectar when I'm there?
I would suggest that if you do, you take a very small sip.
Okay.
Otherwise, it might be just a little bit too heady for you.
All right.
Way more heady than the beer because, again, in a sense, it's geared to the idea of our genetic structure.
Right.
And you may find that it will take you on a little bit of a whirlwind if you take too much.
Okay.
And you won't necessarily know exactly what to do with that. Not right now. When you have enough of a conversation in the Stargazer, then you might be able to take a few more sips.
Very good.
So,
Thank you, Lily. Love you.
I'm not Lily.
You know, I keep interchanging that name in the last couple of days, you and Lily.
Well, it is the
Well,
name of
isn't-
my own mother.
Oh, that's right. It is. Yeah.
So you may be sensing some of the connection within.
Okay, yeah, because
But
it's
she is Lily Hillicrissing.
right. And but I keep interchanging it every time when I've been sort of talking. I calling Willa Lily and Lily Willa.
Yes. Well, again, it can be a little heady.
Yeah. Okay,
But
Willa.
you'll straighten it out.
Right.
With the Stargazer's help.
Thank you, Willa.
You're more than welcome, dearie.
Love you.
Our love to you as well.
Hello.
And to you, good day, good evening, dearie.
Good evening.
Is it me you wish to be speaking to?
Both of you, but I will start with you.
Oh, all right. How nice of you.
Well, how nice of you.
I am always nice. Contrary to what some people have said about me.
Who are those people?
Oh, my mentor for one, but she knows I'm just full of mischief.
Okay. Well, one night, a few months ago or long ago,
Speak up, dearie.
you visited me and you asked me if I want to go with you, and I got out of my body and there you are. I mean, Bashar confirmed me that it was you.
Yeah, what did I look like then?
Like a beautiful lady fish, I would say, like a...
I look like a fish?
Well, it was, yeah.
You
it was,
think I look like a fish?
That's how I saw you.
Well, then it wasn't me, dearie.
Then, but when I got out of the body, you said, I'm Willa, and you want to come with me. And I asked Bashar if it was you, and he said it was an orchestration.
That's more accurate because I don't look like a fish.
I know. That's what I thought. That's why I didn't go further with it, because I said, who am I going with? And then I went back to my body, so...
Yes, you're dealing with a combination of different reflections and different beings that all got blended together. Like you threw us all in a blender and
Well,
gave
so
yourself a
what happened
reflection
there?
that you needed. It contained many different kinds of energies then.
Can you